Hello everyone, welcome back to Celiac Train. Today we're going to discuss could it be more than celiac disease. So in this video I'm going to be discussing a few ideas for those who have been following the gluten-free diet now for a while, but feel they're just not quite getting any better. Maybe you're still having some symptoms creep up every once in a while and it's just kind of ruining your day or your week or whatever. I think they can call that refractory celiac disease or whatever. Or maybe you've had the test done again and your villi are still damaged. So if that's the case, this video could be for you. Or maybe you've been very strict with your diet and you know you're not getting cross-contaminated, but you're still feeling poorly. In that case, this video would definitely be for you. And if at any point you see me looking away from the camera, just know I'm looking at my notes. I just trying to take some notes for this video instead of just trying to shoot it on the fly or whatever. So I think it's going to be some very good information that you guys are going to benefit from. All right, now first off, I am no doctor. I'm no nutritionist. I don't have any fancy credentials at the end of my name. But what I do have is personal experience. Like I said, I've been diagnosed with celiac disease for a year and a half now. Now, in addition to celiac disease, I've also been diagnosed with alpha-gal allergy, which is something that you get from a tick bite and makes you reactive to red meat and sometimes dairy. And then I also have been diagnosed by an acupuncturist that I have Lyme disease, which I'm also being treated for by the acupuncturist for bacteria, viruses, and parasites, as well as a few other things. So, and I feel like that's been very helpful for me. So anyways, I say all that because I have some experience and I've been around and I feel like I do have something that is worth mentioning, okay? Alright everybody, so I think we can all agree that celiac disease is an autoimmune condition. There's over 100 different types of autoimmune conditions. You might have more than one. You can have more than one at one time, right? Things like Hashimoto's, thyroiditis. There's things like autoimmune arthritis, and just all kinds of things. Those are some of the more common ones that I see in my research with celiac disease. But you probably weren't born that way, correct? Celiac disease, you kind of develop it over time, and then something happened along the way, along your life journey that caused you to to express that gene of celiac disease, correct? And then your immune system started attacking your own tissue, and in an autoimmune condition case is basically your immune system is having friendly fire, right? It's attacking its own tissues. But what exactly would cause that? In my experience, I would say several things could possibly cause that. But I will say it's hard to see that kind of when you're in the middle of everything that's going on. Much like being in a bad relationship, you don't really see how bad it was until you're on the other side. So what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to bring you some perspective and kind of be like a sounding board for you all. All right, number one is going to be infections. So infections are a very broad category. You can have acute infections, you can have chronic infections. But really what I'm talking about more is of chronic infections. And this can include things like parasites, bacteria, viruses, much like what I've been dealing with. These are just things that you pick up over your lifetime, right? I've been bit by, who knows how many ticks at this point in my life. You got mosquitoes, chiggers, all kinds of things. I live on the East Coast, so it's very, humid and warm climate sometimes. So you get all kinds of, bites and whatnot. And then, also just, living life too. You just pick these up, throughout the world and stuff. So the food you eat, all kinds of things. You're a magnet, right, for all kinds of things. All kinds of nasty critters. And also in some cases, this could have been passed from mother to child as well. Certain things. I think there was one article I was seeing that was saying, or maybe it was Dr. Rawls, had said that, some of the Lyme bacteria can actually be passed from mother to child. So, some of us could have been born with this stuff. And in most cases, usually your immune system can handle those things. But at some point, your immune system starts getting overburdened and it just can't keep up with all the trash or whatever you want to call it that's been accumulating in your body. And in my mind, I can just see the macrophages, which is your little um, immune like eater cells or whatever you want to call them. They go around, gobble up everything. Um, those are the ones that are attacking your tissues, and I can just see them getting tired and worn down and starting to, go haywire really, and start attacking your own tissues. So in my experience, working on my immune system has been very helpful in, kind of calming that inflammation and everything, and calming those macrophages down, and really trying to put my autoimmune condition into remission. All right, so infections was number one, but number two is going to be mental health. All right, so mental health is going to be another large, broad category. Again, most of what I'm talking about today is kind of like the general, like broader picture. But working on mental health has been probably one of the largest parts of my recovery, at least in my experience. When you have depression, anxiety, all or nothing thinking, um, just negative thoughts in general, negative thought patterns, the list could go on and on with that, but really it does take its toll on your immune system, and kind of bogging down that recovery process, right? All or nothing thinking was really you know, a big part of my daily routine, like that was how I thought about everything. Basically, it had to be everything or nothing, right? And I mean, for me personally, I really got started about almost a year ago on my mental health journey, and trying to, you know, recover from that and like create new neural pathways, right? They call it neuroplasticity. I mean, just think about your body is connected to your brain, right? And your brain kind of runs the show, runs your body basically. So it makes sense that if you have poor mental health, your immune system is going to suffer. And, all these kind of chronic symptoms are just going to creep up over time. And like I talked about with the infections, like you're not going to be able to keep up with the infections part of it either. I think it's also probably safe to generalize and say that poor mental health status is going to lead to a poorer quality of life, and also a shortened lifespan. All right, so moving on to number three, it's going to be environmental stuff. So this could be, a few different things. One example is it could be, you're living in a toxic environment, like you're living in a moldy building, a water damaged building, or perhaps it could be hidden too. Like you may not be able to see it. It could be behind a wall. It could be in the under the floor. It could be in the crawl space of your house. It could be in the ceiling, the attic. You don't know. But I'm just kind of bringing this to your attention because some people, and I think I haven't done the testing yet, but I'm pretty sure that I have an issue with clearing mycotoxins. There is actually a genetic defect that prevents certain people from recovering from, or not recovering, but just clearing those toxins out of your body. I forget the exact SNP, but I think it was HLA-DQ something. I'll try and put the link in here if I find it. It could also just not be at your house. It could be at your workplace, or it could be in your car. I know one of the cars that I had in the past smelled like mildew, and every time that I turned the defroster on, I kind of go like, I just have like that shortness of breath type deal. Whether it was actually just a mental part of it, like the mental health part, or whether it was actually affecting me. It's hard to say. It could be a little bit of both. But I feel like when I did get rid of that car, though, my breathing issues did start to get better a little bit. So I feel like maybe a little bit of a physical dynamic between that. But it doesn't just have to be your house or your workplace or your car. It could also be a toxic relationship too. Like the relationship with your spouse. It could be your family, maybe a coworker that you have a toxic relationship with, or a combination of the three. Or maybe a toxic friend. So really just any toxic relationship in general is going to damage your ability to recover basically. And it's going to prevent you from, or it's going to damage your immune system. Because then, it always leads back to the mental health part of it, right? And those little macrophages. So, I look at it as kind of like tending your garden, kind of like cultivating your own soil, so to speak. I know that's one of the hardest things, especially for me, is just maintaining good quality deep relationships where you have like that good connection with somebody, and meaningful connection. I just seem to have a problem with that, and I'm trying to work on that. I realize that's a problem, and I'm trying to work on it, but it's hard. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and it's not something that's going to happen like next month or next year. Probably it's going to take years and years of work. But just realizing that is really the first step in the process. And then so we talked about your environment, like where you live, work, play, sleep, all that good stuff. We talked about relationships, but really a third part of the environmental part is things like EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, things like bad fats, inflammatory fats, like stuff you're putting in your body or on your skin, right? Sugar is a big one too, like high fructose corn syrup, glyphosate, GMO food. All these things are environmental. Things that you're putting in your body, touching your body, inhaling, or eating could be environmental. Or really just any kind of processed ingredients. Also, there's blue light as well, from all our devices, our lights and stuff. And when you add them up, it really does take its toll on our immune system. So just trying to clean some of those things up will really help, at least like I said, in my recovery, seems to have been very beneficial. And I will continue to do so and continue to try and, minimize those things or keep those to a minimum. I know it wasn't until I started working on each one of those categories that I started to see any glimpse of recovery or improvement in my symptoms. It wasn't just eating a gluten-free diet. I always felt like that was kind of a weird thing. Like, you feel so run down, you feel so terrible. Why is just eating gluten-free going to, help you recover? I don't get that. It's not that simple. Like, no, this is not that simple. Everything is complicated, right? I feel like God made things complex for a reason. Honestly, that's probably a fourth category, but that's probably a whole separate video right there. Is the spirituality. And yes, I am a believer in God, but usually I keep that relationship with God private for the most part. I keep that as like a personal thing. I know you're probably thinking like, wow, this is so overwhelming. Like thinking about all these things that could be affecting me. And yes, it is a lot, but and I don't want you to think like, oh, I got to be worried about every little thing. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I just want you to be aware of these things, and start to work on them one by one. Well, at least I try to work on them one by one. Usually, like I said, I do that all or nothing thinking. I'm like, I got to do everything at once, or I'm not doing anything at all. But I really had to kind of go outside my comfort zone and just try and work on one thing at a time. And some of these things are really big decisions, like life altering decisions, like home, relationships, careers. These are all large topics and not anything to be taken lightly. And they need to be thought about. And they're not meant to be changed overnight. I'm just bringing this stuff to you so that way you, as an adult, can go and kind of make your ask your own questions, develop your own theories, your own opinions on things, and start to work on those things, right? Because really, I'd like all of us to be healthy, thriving adults who feel youthful. I know in my recovery, at least probably in the last few months, which I really haven't been posting a lot the last few months, but I've been working really hard on my recovery, and I've actually had glimpses of feeling youthful and feeling vibrant and everything, and it may last for like a minute or 5 minutes or maybe 15 minutes, but I just have that feeling of like youthfulness again, and I've been working out some again, and it feels great, and just the ability to do that, because for a while I was so out of it I could not work out, and that was one thing that was really really also difficult mental health wise, because that was one thing I did to de-stress was work out, and not being able to work out was, it was detrimental to me. I just want to say it's so exciting and exhilarating when you start to recover and you actually look back and see how bad things were. Just kind of like I was talking about in the beginning of the video with a bad relationship, it's exhilarating to kind of feel that that youthfulness again. That's all I can really think of is just youthfulness, vibrant health, you know. And I look forward to recovering more. And I wish you guys the best in your recovery. And I really hope this video was helpful and that you learned a thing or two. I really hope that you formulate some questions for your friends, family, your doctors, or whatever, for your own health journey. I just want to say that, after all my health struggles and everything, and all that I've learned, I find the human body very interesting, and just like how much you can go through and how you can recover. And I actually want to become a nutritionist, certified nutritionist. Feel free to give me a follow. That kind of supports the cause and everything. Feel free to message me with any questions that you have, and I'll try and answer the question or at least point you in the right direction. Especially when it comes to anything I've done to, recover anything. I just want to say, again, reiterate, I'm not a doctor. I have nothing in my name. But, I have the experience, and, I'm willing to share my experience and what I've done to, that I feel like helped me. But please hit the like button and follow me. And like I said, it supports the cause, supports what I want to do. I have really a passion for this. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm very excited. I'm kind of like the even-keeled person, so when I get excited, usually it'll just kind of be like the normal for other people. But, I am really excited about this, and I think it's something that, I was put here to be, to go through this experience so that way I can help others. So anyways, feel free to check out my diagnosis story, or my vitamin D cofactor video playlist. I hope those will be helpful. I think you guys would really enjoy those. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.